Are you or are you not in North Dakota one of the top 10 or so in the country for renewable energy as a percentage basis, so weighted over a full year?
For rated, but
Yes.
when the wind doesn't blow and the sun doesn't shine, they
Mr.
produces
Secretary,
nothing.
we have these things called batteries. We've had them since Benjamin Franklin. They come in much bigger sizes than this.
I would like to report a murder, the political kind. Hello, everybody. David Shuster here. Trump Interior Secretary Doug Burgum testified to a House committee and got shredded and humiliated. It was one of the most brutal congressional beatdowns you will ever see. First up, Democrat Seth Magazine of Rhode Island, he bashed Burgum with the words of Donald Trump.
I'm going to ask you to help clear up a few things for us. President Trump said,
what I do
if you have a
know,
window
sir,
near your house, the noise causes cancer. True or false, Mr. Secretary? False. The noise does not according to the American Cancer Society, they have not found any evidence that any kind of noise causes cancer, particularly noise from wind energy. China has very, very few wind farms. True or false? The answer is false. China added more wind generation last year than the rest of the world combined. They get 15% of their electricity from wind, which is almost as high as North Dakota. The most expensive form of energy ever, wind and solar, says the president. True or false?
that's true. And
not according to the Department of Energy. Under the Trump administration, the EIA under this administration projects that over the next 5 years, solar $58 per megawatt hour on average, wind $56, combined cycle turbines, including natural gas, $77. So according to the administration's own data, that is not true. Enough of the games. The American people want lower energy costs. They want lower prices.
Okay,
they want these projects not blocked. And the last thing I'll say is this. Chairman Westerman, to his credit, has been working with both sides of the aisle to pass permitting reform, something that we need to do. The number one thing preventing that from happening is the administration playing games, blocking clean energy from getting to the grid. I'll yield back.
Next up, Congressman Dave Min of California. He also spoke about the Trump administration shutting down renewable energy projects, including wind and solar. Min noted the administration's overall goal is energy dominance, and Min asked Burgum about a similar goal in China.
I just ask you a simple yes/no question. Do you agree that China is also trying to achieve total energy dominance? Yes/no. Okay, that's not a yes/no. I'll reclaim my time. Do you know how much new energy China put online last year? New energy.
Intermittent or baseload?
And all energy. 543 gigawatts. Do you know how much of that was renewable?
I do not know how much of it did not operate.
It was 434 gigawatts.
80%, but only when the wind is blowing and the sun is
80%.
shining.
They put on 434 gigawatts annually. 80% of the new energy that they put online last year was renewable. 80%. You don't have to take my word for it. I'm Asian, so I'm good at math, but you can look that up.
As Min joked and laughed, he then knifed Burgum again.
80% of the energy they put up was renewable. Meanwhile, the United States, under your, quote, total energy dominance strategy of rejecting renewable energy, put up 53 gigawatts of new energy last year, less than 10% of what China put up.
Min noted that the Trump administration's war against renewable energy is harming U.S. national security, blocking American energy independence, and putting the U.S. further behind China in the global energy business. The congressman then asked Secretary Burgum specifically about the Trump administration paying an energy company $1 billion to stop building 2 wind farms off the U.S. coast.
I know you've described this as a refund in the past. I'm not interested in semantics. You gave them $1 billion to stop producing energy.
It's not semantics.
It is semantics. You gave $1 billion out of a fund reserved for settlements. Is that not true? You gave them $1 billion out of a fund reserved for legal settlements.
I didn't give them anything. We refunded their money, but only if
you gave them $1 billion, right? How are you going to characterize it?
Which they've already invested in energy.
I'll reclaim my time. Thank you.
Yes, the energy company had already invested $1 billion in the wind farm project. All the more reason why stopping the project and blocking the energy that was coming is so controversial. It would be like saying to a construction company that was building a bridge, here's a bunch of money to stop building the bridge, tear it apart. All because Donald Trump doesn't want the bridge, no matter how much the bridge might help traffic. And you heard Burgum say repeatedly that windmills don't produce energy when winds aren't blowing, and that solar depends on sunlight. Well, here's a fun fact. Gasoline doesn't produce energy unless an engine is on. Coal doesn't produce electricity until after coal is pulverized into a fine powder, blown into a furnace, burned at high temperatures, and converted into steam, spinning a massive turbine. None of these energy sources, whether renewable or fossil fuel, create electricity on their own. And fossil fuels create pollution and are more expensive now than renewables. Of course, if Burgum acknowledged any of that, Donald Trump would fire him. So Burgum got slammed by House lawmakers and was humiliated to his face. Burgum also took it on the chin over a no-bid contract awarded to a company repainting the Lincoln Memorial reflecting pool. As the headline says, reflecting pool repairs cost $13.1 million. Trump had promised $1.8 million.
You're familiar with the fact that a company received a no-bid contract to do the work on that project, correct?
I'm familiar that we're working on a project to restore the reflecting pool before the summer season with record attendance, yes.
Yes, and that was through a no-bid $13 million contract, right? That's not up for debate. That's a fact.
I'm positive that we followed all of the required bidding rules. So you're
Well, let me ask you that
you're
question,
emphasizing the word no bid like something nefarious has happened.
Okay,
and
then
I reject
explain
that
it to me.
thesis.
Here, I'll ask you the question. My understanding of the federal procurement rules is that a no-bid contract is reserved for situations where, quote, any delay would cause serious injury to the government. What is your proposition is what? That there'd be serious injury to the government if this company didn't get the $13 million contract to do this particular project right now? Is that?
Well, I think we do have a sense of urgency. I mean, we got handed a record amount of deferred maintenance. We had 19 fountains across the city that didn't work.
That's the
82 homeless
serious
sites,
injury to the government? The serious injury to the government?
Well, I suppose a lawyer could decide that, but I think that maybe all of us could agree that we would want to have our nation's capital looking great for the 250th. I mean, this is a common sense decision.
I would say, just last question, who picked this company? Because President Trump, a few months ago, in a New York Times article said, I have a guy who's unbelievable at doing swimming pools. He looked at it, he called me up, he said, sir, we can do something on it. Last night, he posted on Truth Social, also, I did not give out the contract, Interior did, to a contractor I did not know and have never used before. So Interior, he's talking about you. Did you give this $13 million no-bid contract to this company that's never done business with the federal government before?
The gentleman's time has expired.
I think the Secretary can answer the question.
The gentleman that you're talking about that has done construction work regarding pools and fountains for President Trump is not part of this contract.
That's true, but Burgum never answered why the company that did get the contract was awarded the project. And again, it was a no-bid contract, which means there was no competition for the work. To be clear, Interior Secretary Doug Burgum, who previously served as governor of North Dakota, seems like a likable, earnest guy. But his decisions to defend Donald Trump make Burgum an easy target. And in this hearing, Burgum got destroyed. By the way, inflation under Donald Trump has gotten so bad that even MAGA news anchors are grim.
Numbers are coming in on the warm side. Our April producer price index for the month of April, headline number, almost triple expectations, up a whopping 1.4%. Wow.
On a year-over-year basis, that pushes the index to 6%.
You have to go back to March of 22 to find a bigger number.
What does that tell you about the direction of travel for inflation? It just seems like it's heating up big.
We are going in the wrong direction.
Kevin, certainly on the surface, you got to admit, today's CPI was a lousy number, 0.6%. Core ex-food and energy still up 0.4%. So the 12-month change is 3.8%, and the core change is 2.8%. What does an NEC director say on a day like today when the CPI is coming out so poorly?
Well, first of all, this is a temporary energy shock.
Mr. President, to what extent are Americans' financial situations motivating you to make a deal?
Not even a little bit. The only thing that matters when I'm talking about Iran, they can't have a nuclear weapon. I don't think about Americans' financial situation. I don't think about anybody.
Check out that video at the link below. It generated a lot of comments on YouTube. One of the most popular is from Barra, who wrote, Remember when Trump said, "I don't care about you, I just want your vote"? He wasn't joking. Indeed. I look forward to reading your comments about Trump Interior Secretary Doug Burgum trying to defend Donald Trump and getting annihilated. I'm David Shuster. Thanks for joining us.